What up, YouTube? Welcome to When Nice Guys Retaliate. Basically, this is about the only channel that you can come to, and it's not a bad thing to be a nice guy. It's actually encouraged. Because nice guys choose to be good even though they can be bad. Whereas bad boys be bad but just because they're just bad. So, in this discussion, we're going to talk about another type of woman. And this is the I and me woman. And I would like you guys to, if you want to, start watching videos. And I want you to see the difference between a woman that actually is marriage minded as opposed to a woman who's single woman minded. You know what I'm saying? She's the single ladies type woman that she's single in her mindset, and she's really not marriage material because she has been either raised to be alone or she has the mindset to be alone. And I find it interesting that you hear a lot of women say me. And when you're in a marriage, that should be we, our. That should be the terminology a woman should use. She should not say stuff like my bills, my kid, I decided to do this, I'm going to do that, da 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 da. Now, the counter argument you'll hear a lot of feminists and other women, strong, independent women say is that they don't want to lose their identity in a marriage. They don't want to lose their identity in a relationship. Well, I believe you can have a relationship where you don't lose your identity, but at the same time, you still cherish the relationship. The relationship takes priority because there is a greater benefit from two people working together to do something as opposed to one person. Now, the counter argument I would use to the counter argument is that when you're looking for a spouse, you should be looking for somebody who is going in the same direction you are. And what that means is if your identity conflicts with the person that you want to be with, you should not be with that person. So, in finding a particular person you want to get married to, you should find somebody whose personality meshes with your personality. Their goals meshes with your goals. Their priorities meshes with your priorities. And in that case, in that regard, you should never have the fear of losing who you are in a relationship, because who you are in a relationship is what the relationship was built on. And this is another way you can say how some women, and some men, of course, pick the wrong people to be with. In reality, you want to pick somebody who's going to allow you to be who you are in the relationship. And being who you are in a relationship doesn't conflict with them. You really, even to get to this point, you have to know yourself. You got to know yourself. And I would say, as another thing that you really should be aware of, is not to get hung up on one woman. You need to be able to date different women and not just hit the first woman that you actually come in contact with, or just hold on to her, because her interests may be amplified out of your you're feeling a loneliness or and potential desperation, because that can happen as well, where you can just kind of settle. You can really, I'll just say it like this: a lot of nice guys settle for women. All right, and you have more options out there that you can see. The problem is that you have to go look for those options, and finding those options aren't necessarily the easiest thing because you have many different types of women. And some women are more focused on their public image for a relationship. And then you have women who are focused on finances for a relationship. And then you got women who are focused on all of that, but then they're unfaithful because they want their cake and they want to eat it too. So they might have you as a financial side dude, and they got the guy they really like as their love interest. And so you have to be careful of that type of stuff as well. So ironically, as a nice guy, you really have to protect your heart more than other guys, because the other guys, and they may not even admit it, is either they had help, they've been hurt, or they just, were not raised to be good men in the first place. And so they're going to have a different perception than you. Now, you have the opportunity, or you could be in a situation where you could turn into any one of those guys. But ideally, what you want to do is you want to protect yourself in a way that allows you to maintain your integrity, who you are, still be nice, but also maintain your self-respect for yourself as well as for people that are dealing with you. But for some reason, people think nice guys are just weak. But like they say on some places, they're going to mess around and find out that ain't always the case. Well, I'll say like this. You have people who are nice, but that don't mean that they're not just gonna take anything you give to them. And I think you got some people out there, and a lot of men that are so naive that they think just a nice guy is just gonna roll over. And you got these women that think the same thing. They looking for the dog in a man, and they don't realize that nice guy wasn't always nice. In some cases, that nice guy could have been just a straight up tiger, a lion, tearing people apart. But because of their past, they became nice. They might have, found the Lord and become a peaceful person. But that don't mean they completely deliver from that beast. But you got some people who are just, I don't know why these people just think that just because you're nice, that means you're weak, or you can't have a breaking point. You're not a pushover, which I think is a lot of times what women run into, is they'll see you as a nice guy, but they won't understand that even though you're a nice person, you still have certain things, rules and regulations you follow after. So you'll have this woman who's attractive, who thinks she's better than you. She'll come up to you in the hopes of manipulating, thinking you'll be an easy person to manipulate. She'll find out that you're not an easy person to manipulate, and that you have certain rules and regulations that you're going to follow. Not saying you're going to be crazy and controlling, but in my opinion, she will call you controlling because you weren't as much of a pushover as she thought you was going to be. Now, this whole I'm looking for a man I can follow junk is garbage. To me, it's just depending on how attractive she is to you. The man that she's really attracted to, she'll tell what to do. If you're not attracted to her, she'll expect you to do what she want to do. However, if you're a responsible, nice guy, you'll basically be like, nah, that's not how it's going to be. But her having that a misconception of you is going to change her opinion of you, because she really is still trying to control you through words. She's calling you controlling, but in reality, you just discipline, and she don't want to be disciplined. Well, actually, she don't want to be under your discipline. She wants to be able to use you like she wants to use you, and you're just not allowed to have it. But that's a whole other can of worms. But this woman, it says I, me, you have to be real careful of her. And I would imagine a woman who is more marriage minded, she's going to be more focused on a we type of mentality as opposed to a me or I type of mentality. A woman who says I and me a lot, she's really a single-minded woman, and you need to let her stay single. A marriage-minded woman will always, or a person who should be marriage-minded, should think of we and me, and even you as a man. You don't want to just make decisions all by yourself. If you're good enough and smart enough to choose a good, smart, wise woman, you're going to want to know what her opinion is, because she's going to be there to either give you another point of view, or she's going to be able to give you she's going to be able to actually confirm your thinking. And that's what you need. You need somebody who's responsible, who's on your team for you. All right. And that goes back to picking the right person. You want to pick. You don't want to pick the person that makes you. You don't want to pick somebody that you have to change to please. Okay. You want to pick somebody that you're pleasing. That you please each other by being just who you are. All right. And so the I, me woman is just not that woman. She will always think that she's alone. She'll always think that you're going to turn on her one day. She has no trust for you. She has no trust for anybody else. She is her own person. She's her own whatever. And you ain't got time to be trying to convince somebody else that you're a trustworthy person. If she don't trust you, man, forget her. Leave her. You know what I'm saying? She can be by herself. All right? You go find a woman who's smart enough to look at you, and as long as you should be a trustworthy person. All right? If you're not a trustworthy person, you're not really a nice guy. Now, if a woman can't see that in you, and if you ain't did nothing you ain't messed around on her, you've been nice to her, you respected her, respected her family, you done all this stuff, you have not given her a reason to not trust you, you know what I mean? Then she shouldn't have no problems trusting you. And she just kick it to the curb. All right? And that's excluding women who just don't trust anybody. You can kick them women to the curb too, because if they've been heartbroken by a dude, 9 times out of 10, if she ain't healed, she ain't gonna be a good woman for you. So just let her be. But yeah, keep an eye out for the women who says I, me, and look out for the women who have. I'd imagine you really just need to go watch videos. You know, single women videos are all over the place, but try to go find marriage-minded women and see how they talk as opposed to how a woman who's a single-minded woman talks. And that's something you're going to have to use in you're looking for a spouse. Is find, once have an idea of how marriage-minded women talk, as opposed to single-minded women talking, you start looking for a woman that's single, that's marriage-minded, okay? But that's what happens when nice guys retaliate. So hope you guys take care, and keep an eye out for these vetting recommendations, okay? Because I don't want you guys get into relationships that you're going to regret. And we want to have good marriages to good women, between good men and good women, so that, it just makes the world a better place, because right now it's going crazy. But you guys take care.